right. We are back live with BU Live, everyone. Welcome, gentlemen. It's nice to have you on the show. And I am, as always, Josh Pies. That was named 45 years ago. Proud to keep it. Haven't changed it. And today we are going to have a really fun conversation with people all over the country, from the heartland to Texas to right here in Central Florida. And as I look at this, I'm realizing that my magic layout button went away. So I don't see you guys in full screen until I hit the magic layout button. So here we go. And without further ado, I want to just get some quick introductions out of the way. I'm going to flip around and start with Don. Don, I know you actually probably the best because we've had a number of opportunities to interface in person. Don and I actually met through, through the wonders of BNI. Actually, one of your employees was in that crowd, and your web designer was in that crowd, and I was floating around that crowd. Not floating around there anymore. Maybe that'll come up today. Right, Don? Yeah, it's an interesting thing that we could always bat around. And so Don is the CEO of Merchant Rescue, which is a brand new brand. Bring it up at some point, Don. You can dig in and explain what that means. But I knew you through Tried and True Consulting, which I actually wrote a one sentence. I wanted you to see if I have been listening to you, Don.
Okay.
Because I look at you as small business consultants that are solution architects to solve problems and increase operational efficiency and bottom line profitability in small businesses across the nation, but especially in Central Florida. Does that do it justice?
I think you just laid it out pretty well. The only thing you missed is just maybe some of the things we do, but we can talk about that.
Well, and I'm sure that'll come fantastic. Up. But one of the things I've noticed about you, Don, is you're a partnership junkie, man. You find partners all over and you bring them into the fold so they become plug and play solutions elements to what you do in the consulting world, which I really appreciate. And two gentlemen who are with us today could potentially become partners of yours, Don, because of how you are a master networker. Hey, Bill. It is awesome to have you here. Bill is the CTO, CPO, not 3CPO, and the CMO at Element 502. Fun fact, I had no clue what 502 meant until I put two and two together that Louisville must have that as the area code. Bill, real quick, what is CPO?
It's a chief product officer, chief marketing officer, chief technical officer, chief everything officer. Hey, we just call it other duties as assigned, right? When you're the business owner, you do whatever falls off the table. That's going to be on one of your hats today.
That's awesome. Yeah. And so you're digital marketing and web design, and you're in the hotbed for alcoholic beverages, probably a lot of whiskey in the area. Do you guys get that coming through your office every once in a while?
Not so much on the marketing side, but on label design and branding and packaging and all that. Yes, we do get to play with spirits, and it's never a bad day, Josh, where you have to go do some sampling with one of your customers in the middle of the day just to give your feedback on new products. So
that sounds lovely. Now, truth be told, I haven't had an ounce of alcohol in 7 months, but that is because I'm on a health kick and I'm trying to shed some lbs. Don, how do I look? You're the one who can.
Yeah, I've known you the longest here, so doing well. You're doing well.
And then we've got Josh Sprague from hailing from Texas, the creator of Orange Mud, and we're going to get into that just in a second, but that is a fascinating B2C brand. Seven Clay, where you're helping other people with their brands through apparel and brand design. And then Anvil and Acre looks like it's a consulting brand for you. Is that what that is, Josh?
Yeah, it's fractional CMO, basically lead to conversion. It's steering people rather than focus on an element, make sure you have the whole pipe correct.
Pipelines are absolutely everything. So, hey, I want to start in our segment one, setting up you, Josh, to tell us a little bit about the concept of necessity being the mother of invention.
Yeah,
I have always believed that phrase, but sometimes you get introduced to a phrase and you're just like, okay, that sounds right. That's true. But it seems like you've really lived it. And is it my understanding that Orange Mud is your first of those three ventures?
It is.
Got it. Tell us the Orange Mud story, because you literally were solving your own problem with this product, right?
Yeah. So I started Orange Mud 14 years ago, and it's something that, as being a competitive adventure racer, triathlete, mountain biker, trail runner, everything, I've done over 500 endurance races. I just hated most hydration packs and waist packs and handhelds and all these things. And so one day, out of just pure frustration, I, after a long run, I went and I chopped up a gun holster, a waist pack, ratchet strap, and I took a hotel sewing kit that I took from like a Hampton Inn or something, and I sewed it all together, and I stapled it and glued it and made it kind of look and fit like I wanted. And I went out and tested it, and this idea had been in my head for a long time, that from watching my teammates' backs and how their bodies move and how this area would be more stable. I thought, this is just going to work. And it actually did. It just looked like it was worth about 50 cents. And so, and at the time, my son was 3 months old, and I ran a big device company, manufacturing company, and my wife was a corporate lawyer, and we were realizing one of our jobs had to give. We couldn't each work 100 hours a week. And so I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to build a business. I'm going to build a backpack. It's probably going to cost $50,000. Worst case, we'll have 2 backpacks worth $25,000 each, perfectly designed for us. And best case, we actually can maybe grow this. And you know what? We did. And 14 years later, we've got, I don't even know how many products I've made. I mean, hundreds, and probably 500, maybe. I really don't know. But yeah, so it's continued over time. And I didn't have a plan. A lot of people are like, what's your business plan? I'm like, I don't know, make one, see what happens. I had a good job. It was a hobby. But once the first product happens, our customers started to involve it, and friends started to like, hey, well, I like to carry pickles and bacon in my pockets, my chest pockets when I do trail running. Can you make chest pockets on that pack? I said, yeah, we can probably do that. And then, I wanted to protect my seat after a ride because I was nasty, and I didn't want to sit on my seat when I'm bloody or dirty or sweaty after crashing my mountain bike. And I didn't want to moon people in the parking lot. And so I built this dual changing talon seat cover, which we've sold hundreds and hundreds of thousands of now. And so the products, they just kind of, I tell everybody, I design everything for me, and then I make it to where it works with everybody else. And so I constantly get something cool for me. And then I get to share in that excitement by seeing everybody go out and conquer their goals and doing stupid things with it. And yeah, I've basically just continued doing that all these years. Even my 7-clay business, I only started it because I hated the local people that were making my custom embroidery for me on my seat cover. They sucked so bad. They were rude. The prices were crazy. The quality was terrible. I literally spent $58,000 just to hurt them. I only wanted to put some people out of business, and I did. There's 3 local to me that have gone out of business, and it's their fault. I was outsourcing $250,000 a year. It's like it was like pulling teeth to give them work, which I just thought was crazy. So I started that, and then now it's bigger than Orange Mud. So yeah, it's just never ending. But yeah, I got a lot of frustration.
Well, I see that. And so I'm hung up on the elements of the parts that you used to put it together. This is actually gloriously off topic for the business conversation that we intend to have. But could you go back to your they call it
minimal sewing kit.
Yeah. Thank you. This is crazy.
Minimum viable product.
Yeah. That's the word I was looking for. Minimum viable product, which, by the way, in my industry, when we're writing a script to get the idea out and see if it has merit, we have the SFD, and it's called shitty first draft.
Right.
And so your minimum viable product would have been differently labeled in my industry. But go over those parts again.
Sure. Yeah. Well, as far as the widgets, yeah. So the way I've always looked at things is, first, let's define what we need.
Yeah.
And then second, let's just get something close. Don't try to hit it perfect. Right. And so yeah, I had basically an old waist pack that I used to run with, and I hated those because they squeeze your waist, and it had the holster on the back that I needed. So I took that piece off. But then I had a pistol gun holster that I used when I lived in Southern California. I was mountain biking in the Cleveland National Forest, and I about got ate by a mountain lion one night. And after that, I thought, I think I'm gonna start carrying a pistol when I'm out mountain biking. They're probably gonna kill me anyway, bite me in the neck. But I thought, I'll have that. But that pistol holster, I didn't like it anyway. So, and then I took that, and I took a ratchet strap from the back of my truck, and then the sewing kit, and just sewed together that crude concept. And I'm telling you, I still got it. It looks really rough, but it actually works awesome.
So you owe all of us here a glimpse of you wearing that. I know, don't do it now. Don't run off the camera, but we need to see this absolutely disgusting, awesome first draft.
Yeah.
And so, guys, both Don and Bill, you guys live in a similar world to me, where we're floating around solving other businesses' problems, not guys running away from mountain lions in the wilderness. And the minimum viable product and the concept of, necessity is the mother of invention always rings true to me, but it's such a different reality. And Don, I think I want to throw it to you first, because you literally have just reinvented. You've just done something new. So you're living at what was the necessity in your business upgrade, I'll call it, and how are you solving these problems?
Well, we weren't chasing a mountain lion, but we were chasing retaining our businesses money that they on a sale. A lot of you both in business, so you understand chargebacks. That is a problem across, and as the credit has tightened and as the economy has been, you guys' definition, I'm not going to define it right now, but it's not as great. And at the end of the day, people are starting to take more desperate means to ensure that they have funds. So they're charging back at a higher percentage. Bottom line is we ended up having to go out and create a platform, because when I looked at other offers or solutions in our business, they were too expensive for us as a small to medium-sized business to enable our clients to use. The monthly fees, the per item fees were just too expensive to help mitigate or reduce or respond to a chargeback. And so a little over a year ago now, I took to AI and just started learning and agentic and directive AIs and just started building a platform to help me respond to our clients. We don't get a lot of chargebacks as a company. We have maybe 25 to 30 a year, but we didn't see paying $7,000 to $10,000 just to have a mitigation system. So we built it ourselves. And over 6-7 months, we developed a pretty good system. We started putting in real data. And over the last half of the year, we did have about 26 chargebacks. We've defended 22 of 26. And now we've made it a scalable platform. So when we release Merchant Rescue, you can actually just click right on the button, drop in for free. We're offering it for free for now. So we just found that it was absolutely important. And now we're able to defend it at a fraction of the cost with 3 times the speed. Because if you get involved, if you've ever been involved in a chargeback, you're probably investing an hour to 2 hours of your time. You're probably working with somebody. Maybe if you have a good local rep, you'd have somebody helping you like we do. And we end up with 3 to 4 hours invested to try to defend a chargeback. And we might win that 30 to 40% of the time. Now we're winning 85% of the time. And we're doing it within 15 minutes of receiving the content. And a couple of phone calls, less than 30 minutes all in, and we're been very successful in our defense.
Have you discovered any statistic on what the average chargeback ends up costing a business? Both the actual value of the chargeback, but also wasted time, legal fees, all of that.
Sure.
Like, how deep does it normally go, and what's the pivot for you?
I'll give you the micro on our business. So those 26 chargebacks, 22 defended, resulted in $38,000 being retained by our clients, avoiding $680 of fees. And if you add up the 3 hours per defense, you're talking about nearly 70 hours of time that was saved. So at the end of the day, those are the micro numbers. If you go macro, goodness gracious, chargebacks is $1 billion problem.
Right. And so you're on the bleeding edge of fixing $1 billion problem.
Yeah. And there's companies that mitigate, but they mitigate and they might get 50%, maybe 60% responses at a high, but you're paying 10 to 20% to defend that chargeback. Right. And the card brands have not made it easier. They made it actually more difficult. The preemptive strikes that Visa and American Express, and I'll call them out specifically. I'm a reseller of their service, but they're very tough. They're very protective of their cardholder. They'll defend you to the end. But at the end of the day, it's becoming an increasingly difficult way it's a very difficult thing for business owners to defend, especially if you're taking transactions over the phone and you key it in. If you don't have that billing address and zip code, it's over. You don't even get a chance to defend it. It's considered fraud and you lose.
So I'm sure all of us take credit if a client's going to use a credit card. Bill, do you?
Oh yeah. Okay. Exactly.
Yeah, and that makes sense. So Bill, you're in a different thing than even Don and like I would be then, because you've got this hybrid of creativity and also this kind of tactical thing going on. So when you see a creative challenge and it's necessity moment, how is your business attacking that?
Well, there's a couple different ways. Josh, I appreciated we cobbled this together and this and this and this. We've got a creative agency, so we do that with cardboard, duct tape, some creative photography, some Photoshop, and we can make anything exist,
Sure.
even if it really doesn't. And sometimes it could be just like you, where I need to see if I make this product and I develop it and I put all this money prototype. Will anyone? We've made boxes, we've made prototypes, we've put together does not exist, sent people to trade shows so that they can start talking to people to be able to put that in. And then it's always, it's the eternal polish in the turd kind of idea of, hey, this was our plan and it worked out really great. Kind of like
Sure.
recording a live session and you hit record and suddenly like everybody's in different rooms, any of those kinds of things that happen. We have to figure out how to move around that. So I think being nimble and being creative at the same time can definitely open that necessity mother of invention.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I wonder if there's a certain element that you're looking at speed to market, because when you're rapid prototyping something and you're just like, hey, I got to figure this out, and we're talking about minimum viable product and all these things where it seems to me that there's urgency I'm feeling from each one of us when it comes to the idea that not only is necessity the mother of invention, but I don't think we feel as a group like we get to drag our heels. Does that resonate with you, Bill?
Oh yeah, definitely not. My staff and other people have heard me say more than once, hey, the brakes don't need to work until we get really close to the wall, or we don't really need to have the wings on it until it's time to take off. Like let's just start moving. Let's get everything going that we can, and not to be foolish and to go too far. You don't get too far over your skis. But at the same time, if you wait till every I is dotted, every T is crossed, you'll see 3 other products are already on the market. And then all of your time, effort, and energy is wasted. Yeah. And the first one to market is often the one that people will remember. So you want to make sure you put out a good smile and you put out a good product, good enough to be able to retain that market recognition. But we move too fast. I mean, even Don's story of Don, you didn't sound like you were a developer, like you were a coder or anything like this, but you saw a need, you sat down with a tool, and you created a solution that now you're scaling and going to be able to give to others. And if you've ever been on the wrong side of a chargeback, and some of our e-com clients with our online, it's brutal. I completely understand. And the worst are the people who are intentionally frauding you, where they order something to push it through and then say, not me, because they know that that's all they have to do. And then unfortunately, even the world has kind of put enough distance between doing that to where people don't even think it's stealing or anything wrong. It's just like, the credit card company will do it. No, your merchant is the one who's going to suffer the most in that, because you've stolen a product for them that they will no longer get back in inventory, and they get nothing other than they actually paid you to steal their product at the end of the day. So time. You can't let grass grow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don, it sounds like you've got an evangelist for your product.
Definitely, Bill. It looks like I'm going to need to get you on a video myself and record your comments.
There you go.
So, Don, it took you how long in AI? You said it was about 6 months?
Unfortunately, I've had on the wrong side.
Oh, I understand, Bill. And for us, Josh, to answer that question, I spent 6 months working through, I think, probably about 300 hours logged in various systems, tools, and platforms, and then another 200 hours of testing on prior chargebacks and collecting some initial chargebacks and just working through the process, because eventually, the chargeback system there's 2 steps to it or 3 steps to it. At the end of the day, you have a chargeback, you respond, or you have a chargeback, you respond, you win, or you have a chargeback, you respond, win, and then they represent it. And now you've got to defend again. So you have to go through these iterations in order to get the fully vetted and tested. And I'm grateful that we've done that. But in the end, I'd answer that question, Josh, I'd say it's probably 800 to 900 hours of development time. I don't even count the credits anymore. I don't look back at how much we spent. I just look at what it's solving for and what it's already done. And I go, I've already seen the value of it just in what we've already accomplished. Whatever happens from here it's just a blessing.
That's fascinating. And Josh, how long did it take you to create the first draft of the product, the gun belt and ratchet strap and all that?
Well, that first night was 2 hours, hour. I mean, it was crude. When I say crude, it was crude. It was like it was barely held together. And
but you could test it the next day.
I tested it right then. Yeah, I think I'd already had a couple beers, and I know I did because I went inside and I was like, this actually worked. And I was like, I'm going for a run. She's like, okay. My wife was like, okay. And then, I went out and tested it and came back and said, man, we're going to start a business. And so, but from there, so yeah, to build something quick is easy, but then to refine it is where it's brutal. And where I have generally found with every single product I've developed, when I'm on task and if it is my sole goal to design product X, it takes me 10 months from start to finish. That's what it takes. Because I can get it. It's just same old design rule, right? It's easy to get to 90, 95%. But that last 5% is always painful. It always sucks. And it's sometimes just stupid stuff. It's the little things. Do you have the GS1 barcodes correct? Do we have the exact description? Do we have what, the art? Are we happy with the Pantones? It's very simple things, but are really, really important to not screw up, because you can have a really ugly product come in and that's not going to go. So, but yeah, I've always found that the initial speed to get to a functioning product is usually not super hard, but it's making it pretty and making sure it's pretty. It's going to last a really long time, and it accomplishes everything that I want. And then I'll run it through a poll of people, and I'll get their feedback and find out what I'm missing, what I'm not. And that's where, it's pretty much always 10 months without exception, almost always 10 months. It's weird, but every time I looked at it, it's like freaking 10 months, and it's just the way it goes.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I'm actually in the middle of it right now for our business. I don't know if you've spent time on our website to kind of see the legacy of where we were, but 20 years ago, I was producing TV shows and movies, and then corporate work was kind of our more profitable but side hustle. And then you enter the pandemic where it destroys everything, and we end up finding ourselves solving people's problems where they couldn't meet in person by doing this thing called video podcasting. And then I realized, oh my God, I love this. So now I'm here, but this is just a service, right? And for me, I've been looking for something scalable. And so we are in the middle of it right now, where we rebranded, I don't know, it's a partial rebrand of maybe 4 weeks, where we're now the Business Podcast Network. And the back end, Don, to the programming side of things, I actually have to meet with the co-programmer who is an AI expert, because we're building functionality on the back end, and my head's spinning, because it is so much lifting, even with AI, to not get something working, but get it right. And I'm only noticing for the first time in my life, because I've never productized anything like this, that the difference between working and right can be a chasm. And that's what I'm tripping on right now. It's kind of fun tripping on it. Like, it's zero complaint from here, but we're trying to insert business intelligence inside of the podcast world. And that deep searchability, almost research capability inside of the podcast world doesn't exist. And that's what we're trying to solve right now, is how can we take thought leaders like yourselves, you're guesting on a show right now, how can that be found, searched, and that knowledge extracted, summarized, and made available so somebody could listen to how you deliver it, but also get data from it quickly, so that entrepreneurs can move forward with more confidence, because they've tapped the hive mind through readily available podcast content. Nobody's doing it. I've said it out loud. Somebody's going to try.
No,
but
Josh,
here we are.
That's the exact thing I've been thinking through with AI. Everybody thinks it's just it helps you to accomplish something faster. Reality is, as you start to dive deeper into it, you realize that how does it make you, your company, your product, your service, or the individual, the actual subject matter expert? The deeper you can get into that and tap that and have it become, because quite frankly, I'm going to say this out loud, big corporate America is kind of frozen in some ways around this. Things that they've owned on the search engine optimization, and people have spent all that money to SEO their life and drive business, is going to be flipped upside down by the people that, like us, little guys, that can actually make the AI churn and become highly intelligent and make you the real subject matter expert. So when AI search is fully going to maybe I say 2 years, I go, no, this is going to happen in like 6 to 8 months. Maybe you're the business leader in the field because you did put all those in analytics and tools inside of it and have it taught. And now it's just regenerating and making you, proliferating you in the marketplace as the true subject matter expert. We're doing the same thing. We're right on the same page.
This is a perfect segment because I told you guys we're going to do something called the riff, right? Let's move right on to segment 2 because I'm not going to share my screen right now because it's completely irrelevant other than it says AI layoffs and the future of work. If you had to start your business over today, what would you be doing different? And take note, one thing I will pull up is, where is it? There it is. New York Post. Here's the headline. Let me see if I can. I never remember where the share button is in here. There we go. I'm going to share my screen. And AI pushes 2026 tech layoffs past 50,000 people in just 3 months. That, Disney's laying off 1,000 people right now, and they're all kind of high levels. They're all well-trained executive and high functioning people. Google, Amazon, they're laying off percentages of their workforce. Snapchat just laid off a huge amount of people, all claiming that AI is taking over. And so we're here. You're spot on. They're not, they are keeping up in some ways and they're not in others because they're losing a lot of brain drain when they do that. But we're sitting here as small business operators with an opportunity in front of us. I know I'm leveraging it, but if you had, the challenge of today's the day, you're going to launch as a solopreneur, you got an SBA loan in your pocket and you're ready to burn it. What are you going to do to start your business? What's the plan? And you got to sit on that one for a second. I realize why it's quiet, but I mean, it's an interesting thing because the world is different right now.
Yep. I'll be happy, since I've already started some of that process, I'll be happy to jump in here really quick and just simply share. I look at it and go, is there possibilities of being replaced? Absolutely. And we'd be fools to think that that's not the case. I think ultimately, though, you still have relationships. In B2B and B2C, relationships matter. Now, maybe in another generation, they won't matter. And I don't know whether that generation's accelerated or not, but I'll just call it a 20-year span. Absolutely, this will be completely different. Completely different.
Yeah.
But over the next maybe the next 5 years, relationships truly matter. So keep building them, keep partnering with them. Allow those partnerships can help manifest, I guess we'll call it success for mutual companies. When you can collaborate and partner with people, I think that will trump anything AI does. Because if you don't have collaboration, it's just AIs talking to AIs. I don't know if I just can't see that happening. Maybe it does. I just can't see it in the B2B space. When you're dealing with people's money, is it all going to be AI? I don't think so. Maybe I'm biased, but that's what I'm seeing. People have been resistant to even just adopt even QR codes. Heck, those things have been around for a decade, yet adoption rates are so small. That interpersonal reaction at a server station with a server is still valuable to everybody 10 years later, although technology can fast forward it. But anyway, back to your quick question about AI, I would still use it. I think there's functionality that where it does have intelligence to operate at a faster, more efficient rate. It doesn't replace the person because somebody still has to review it, communicate it. Because guess what? The other person on the other end who's not comfortable with AI, which is probably 90% of the people that are listening today, are probably uncomfortable with it. You still have to communicate with it. And who's going to do that? It won't be the AI. It'll be the individual. So I think it's going to help. Probably reduce 30-40% of expense in some areas, but overall, you're still going to need a human being to interact. And I think you could pay the human being a higher amount because you're getting efficiencies elsewhere, which will make your job more desirable.
Yeah, that's AI is definitely kind of the higher play version of automation. It definitely doesn't. Right now, it's certainly not replacing humans because, of course, in theory, this is all for the human experience. Bill and Josh, what are you guys thinking?
Well, I'll tell you. On the QR code, Don, that I went to a whiskey bar in Dallas Fort Worth a while back, and this was this bougie little cool spot. And we came in, just as a side note, because I hate QRs. I hate them with a passion. I use them, but I hate them. And
Hold on, Josh, why do you hate them?
I hate them because they're they're non-personal. Yes, that's one part of them. But so many people, like on our branding side, people are like, I want to put a QR code on the side of a hat. I'm like, no one's going to walk up to your hat and take a picture of your QR code. Like it's just, it pains me that people want to do things like that. Or like, I want to put my phone number on the hat that I'm going to give to people, and that way it spreads my brand out there. I'm like, no, that's not how that works. That hat's going to go in the trash. But like when I went to this whiskey bar, I asked the server, I said, man, you have a like a specialty cocktail menu here? And they're like, well, yeah, you just need to scan the QR code with your phone. I'm like, in this dimly lit place? I'm like, no, dude, you should have something laser etched in leather, or carved out with a freaking rock. It should be something way more cool. But no, when it comes to AI, though, I mean, just my diatribe, I hate QR codes. But that being said, when it comes to AI, I'm a giant proponent of it. It is going to replace jobs. It is replacing jobs. I have Claude Cowork over here. It's been jamming. It's been working. Actually, the whole time we've been on this podcast, it's still doing projects for me, which I think is the coolest thing on the planet. But I have so many different automations that are running. And yes, it is a glorified automation at this. It is largely a glorified automation, but here's the difference. I am able to, I'm very knowledgeable in a lot of spaces, but I'm not an expert in many spaces, right? And so I like that it allows me to be a absolute machine. And to give you, here's a perfect example of how it's replacing jobs. So I just fired my tech team this week. It was a security breach that really chapped me because they're my tech team, but and it came in through them, which is awesome. But that being said, I discovered when this security breach came through, it was actually last week, but when this security breach came through, I went through and I was the one that had to solve the security issues because they were too slow in responding to it. And my bank accounts were burning as a result. And so I was able to use Claude to figure out the problems and figure out how to shut things down, where again, the tech teams couldn't do it. And then on top of that, I'm using it for things like building custom HTML on my website on things I've always wanted to do, but I could never get the programmer. You always butt heads with with programmers. And I have a full-time developer that works for me, but even so, it allows me to get that vision that's in my head quickly onto paper, where I get what I've wanted for 14 years on one of my products. I did this morning, and I've never been able to do it. Never been able to get a programmer to do it. Now, sometimes it's not the programmer's fault. It's maybe mine. Maybe I didn't define the problem correctly. But I got Claude to do exactly what I want. Mock it up all in HTML. Technically, I could have just posted it to Shopify, but I didn't. And I sent it to my programmer. I'm like, hey, here's the Claude link. Just do it. Just do this.
Wow.
It's that type of stuff that is wiping out these, whatever. In this case, the web developer, again, I could just post it to Shopify. I have done that a lot, but I know that right now it's 90%. But there's things I'm like, you know what? I could sit here and prompt it forever and adjust some of the HTML, but I can also just give it to James and he can just do it. And so there's things like that. And then even running complicated analytics is another piece, right? When you look at the ad space, which I am very, very, very involved with, Facebook, Google, everything. It's one thing to spend money, but you can use Claude to build those platforms. Where I spent the first 6 months of starting Orange Mud, I went from being developer of product to understanding guy of how in the hell am I going to run Facebook. Now with Claude, I already know a lot, and it makes me feel stupid because it finds all the problems that I have in my own campaigns. And it also finds, and this is the big one, it finds the pieces of the tracking. Most of us don't know how to set up tracking right. And I don't care how smart anybody says they are. Most people don't know how to set up tracking right. And especially you let Claude go digging into all your spider web of Google setup to be able to make sure you have all your conversion tracking set up right. It has found things in my account that I thought, wow, I had no idea. I didn't even know some of these settings existed, let alone it found a bunch of errors. And it's been rampant through my account and other accounts I manage, or my own accounts, I should say, and then accounts I manage. So yeah, I think if I had to start over today, Claude Cowork and I would be besties, and I would be building up whatever it is. It doesn't even matter. I give it all kinds of challenges, and it constantly delivers way more faster than what any many of the humans that I've had working for me over the years. And again, yeah, is it going to replace them? No, I mean, yes, it's going to replace a lot, but you still need the boots on the ground where you have that. I want a human to run with this for now.
Yeah.
But
so I'll
it's
tell you,
changing.
AI kept me out of the hospital a couple of weeks back. I had diverticulitis and I wasn't sure how I was going to get through it. So every half hour I checked in with ChatGPT, described my symptoms. It asked me questions. I gave it answers, and it actually, it was touch and go because I talked to telehealth and they're like, in the next 4 hours, you might need to go to the hospital if XYZ changes. And through partnering with AI, I ended up healing on my own, making certain decisions, having certain food and beverage, lying in certain ways. I credit it with keeping me out of the hospital. So it's changing my life for certain. Hey, Bill, so you and I have a lot of similarity in our business, of course, because we manage a lot of podcasts, a lot of creative activities on our side of things. It's changing everything around here. If your business were non-existent today and you were like, I'm going right back into the same industry tomorrow, what's the game plan? What would you do right now to take your market share back?
The biggest thing is that, and Josh kind of hit on this, and I think you, Josh, as host Josh, we got two Joshes using for me. So I think having the people is still a differentiator for us. Where Josh, you were talking about, hey, I was able to mock this up and give it to my developer. From a creative standpoint, if someone brings me an AI generated picture that like, hey, I want this and I just want you to edit it. I'm like, no, I can't do that. Number one, because you don't own it. There's a whole copyright and other issue there. And number two, this is not something that's usable for us to go from this standpoint. But I think just like when Canva, when all these other things came out, suddenly everybody, it's like H&R Block, right? All people are tax people. Well, then why would we have CPAs? Yeah. There's probably a reason that, that not everybody's a tax person, that there's some extra stuff. Now, for a lot of folks, though, it works out great on creative, especially trying to take a market share. Your direct question of market share, I think people are still the thing, because for us, AI is a tool. It's not the actual energy that's making it happen. And so it's just like with with any type of woodworking, with any type of graphic design, with anything, I think having an intrinsic knowledge about what you're doing and how to use the tool as a tool rather than to do it for you, I think is a big differentiator that's in there. So I would still have that, but we use it all the time. I mean, it's great for doing quick analysis stuff that you're talking about, Josh, the being able to build my own dashboards and be able to deploy those to customers and let them see exactly what they wanted rather than paying, multiple platforms and then cobbling something together with another platform you have to pay that does nothing but just take other people's work and put it on the screen for you. Those kinds of things, that's really where it is. And so I think it's that back to kind of your topic that started our conversation off on, that necessity is the mother of invention. I think when you're a wise craftsman, you can see the problem differently. You can take it down to smaller parts, and that's where you can really leverage the AI better. No, I think that's, at least in our world, that's how we see it. Because otherwise, I mean, you're just like the internet in the box guy. For $29.95, I'll show you how you can scale and build your own digital agency and have this car and fly around on this jet and all that. Just pay
internet
me
scammers, they're so much fun.
Yeah. So that's otherwise what you'll turn into.
Yeah. We don't want to be that guy who's got a fancy funnel and he's going for Russell Brunson's big gold record there, or is it platinum? I don't know. It's fun to watch them, but at the same time, we all smell the what's cooking over there. So hey guys, I want to end on something that I think is going to be really relevant for our audience, because I'm always just targeting the entrepreneurial crowd, right? That's where my life passion is. It's where I've spent all of my attention. And I want to end on the best piece of business advice you either have ever gotten, or maybe you've invented it right now to pass it on. But we've got three really well-heeled businessmen in the room. Don, I'm going to start with you. If we got a young entrepreneur in front of you right now, and we're ending our coffee appointment, and you're sending him on his way to go do big things, what are you saying to him?
I tell them you need to have a good mentor, and surround yourself with a community of people and get engaged with your community. At the end of the day, it's all about the partnerships you create. You can have the greatest product in the world or have the greatest service. At the end of the day, it's about the relationships you build. So build solid relationships around you and have a good set of mentor or mentors to help you guide you through however you want to grow. Just surround yourself with those people.
Bill, how about you?
I always tell people, hey, if you go out and get investors in your company, it doesn't matter how much of your stock or voting stock or anything. Once you give someone else control of your bank account, that's the person who's going to have the biggest voting power in your company. So not saying stay away from it, but just know, go in eyes wide open that that's really how this works.
Have you had investors in your business? It sounds like you've at least witnessed it.
I have, and our investors, we're all friends. We did great. We did it together. But I've had some other folks who have fallen dumb to like, well, I only gave 30% of the company. I'm like, well, but you gave 100% of the bank account, and so there's where the rub comes in. And so, just and because we're dealing with businesses, and so unfortunately, I have to sometimes hear some of those not so great stories that come out of them.
Understood. Thanks. And hey, Josh, what do you got?
Yeah, I tell you, one of the things that I often tell my kids, I'm like, I think we live in a simulation because there's too many things that are too weird. And I say it always kind of jokingly, but then the more time passes, the more I question it. And the more I work with AI, the more I feel like I'm trying to figure out how to get it to do things for me. But to the flip side, sometimes I wonder if it's just trying to teach me how to work with it. So what I mean by that is the more things that you work through problems wise in life, you realize if you could simply define the problem, you can always find a solution. And so my number one tip would be, whether it's using AI or to solve a problem or to figure out what product or service it is you want to launch, make sure that you define the problem before you ever start a business, because that's what a business is, right? It's a problem solver. That's all. But too many people, whether they're employees complaining about something, I never tolerate that. I'm like, you can say whatever you want, but I'm not going to listen. You can tell me what the problem is and I will listen. So define the problem and the world is your oyster.
I like that. And that dovetails a little bit with what I would have passed on, which is, the idea that, absolute perfection doesn't exist. Total crap does exist. And finding what feels like perfection for your ideal customer has to be the goal. And that means you're not sending it when it's absolutely perfect. You're sending it when it's right. That's the challenge. Try to find when it's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's tough.
It's miserable. It's the worst. Because the truth is, it'll never be absolutely right. And you're going to have to accept some microcosm of failure in the moment and learn from it. You either win or you learn.
Yeah. We find that with products all the time. You make something where you're like, man, this is really cool. Like, I could do this and that would be neat, and I could do that and that would be neat, and I could have 27 colors and that would be neat. But I think I'm going to start with this, because you have to start somewhere. And that's also, I think, a giant piece that a lot of people struggle with. We see it with our 7-clay business. People pitch us like, oh, I'm starting this business and it's going to be whatever. And then a year later, I'm like, whatever happened with that? Are you still, working towards that? And they're like, well, I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm like, you didn't define the problem clearly, and then you didn't commit. And, you got to have that too.
Frankly, it also always takes longer than you were planning.
And that too.
I've said, oh, we'll have it done in a month. And client deliverables aside, right? When you're in your expert zone, if it takes a month and you tell them a month, then it probably takes 3 to 3.5 weeks and you can deliver on time. But on the big new ideas where there is no roadmap and there is no proven plan, 1 month is 9 months, man.
Yeah. It changes fast.
It really does. So hopefully some of those people you've been seeing are just on the journey and not giving up. But hey, with that, gentlemen, I want the world to be able to find you. Josh, if somebody is like, I got to meet this guy, I got to get him on my podcast, I got to buy his stuff, where does he find you?
Yeah, look me up, orangemud.com, orange like the fruit, mud, MUD, or 7clay, SEBENCLAY.com. Check me out.
Awesome. Hey, Bill, question. Do you do work outside of Kentucky?
Yes, we do. We do work all over the country.
Perfect. So if you're anywhere in the United States and you're like, Bill seems like the well-heeled entrepreneur that I'd want to audition for my awesome next branded thing, my website, my new logo, how does somebody audition you, Bill? How do we find you?
So I'll send you to our. We've got a place for when I'm on podcast. It's called 599 Haircut. It's 599haircut.com. I'd go there. It's got a fun story about what the 599 haircut is, why it's important, what it means to your brand and to your marketing. It's got free downloads, honest to goodness, free ungated stuff is there to go get. So 599haircut.com. You guys can all go there. You can see the fun little AI guy with a bad haircut and read about my fun story of how we got to the 599
heck
haircut.
of a haircut on that website. I immediately went to
I like
it.
that.
You got me. I like this. And there's a guy with a perfect
so you can
commentary
know about
on the
the
bottom
story.
of that. Yeah, I'll read
'cause
it
you need to have
later.
a nice
This is
quant.
so good.
There you go. There you go.
Awesome.
That's us.
Fantastic.
Don, Tried and True and Merchant Rescue. How are we interacting with you? How do we find you?
Best way to find me is just merchantrescue911.com and hit the info tab, contact us, and you'll find a way to get it on my calendar really quick. And I'll even throw this out there. Cell number 678-371-1280. Just call me direct. That easy.
I am so texting you tonight from a phantom phone number and asking if
Feel
you've
free to
gotten
do
a
it.
warranty for your car.
my spam level just went, oh, that just hurt me.
Bring it.
Or I might do one of those random things like, hey, are you still meeting for golf? And see if I can bait you into a deep conversation that reveals your social security number.
Yeah, really.
Those
What was
blow
that
my
last
mind.
conversation we had?
Yeah. And, I started, I was planning on wrapping this up, but I will tell you, gentlemen, that I started messing with those people. I got one that said, hey, are we meeting tonight? And I said, yes, we're still sacrificing all of the chickens. How many do you have? And so now the person bit. And so now we're talking about how many we have to sacrifice and whether we're actually allowed to eat them when we sacrifice them to the gods or if we have to leave them to rot, and it would be a shame. And I'm a bit of an environmentalist, but I'm still in the voodoo culture. And I did this whole thing for like an hour.
Yeah.
And then finally the person goes, you're not really doing this, are you? And I said, no, I'm not. And then I just blocked them. But I did that, and then a week later I read an article that there's people overseas who are actually being like trapped and forced to do this, and they're trying to buy their way out of captivity. And I thought, oh, I was being really mean. I was laughing my butt off when I was doing it, and then I realized it is potentially very mean. So I will not do that again, even though it's seriously tempting. All right. And I'm not even sure why I shared that, but at least everybody's smiling in the room. And then everybody knows that you can always find my company at c47films.com, or you can go to thebusinesspodcastnetwork.com. I'll give it again, thebusinesspodcastnetwork.com. And you can find all of our client shows, my shows, and if you want to learn about podcasting, go to makeitashow.com. There's this happy little pop-up that'll give you an opportunity to download our ebook about podcasting. You can also watch a 2-hour talk that I gave on the contents of that ebook, with also Q&A with podcasters who are in the event. So maybe that can help you on your journey. And of course, if you're like, no, I'd rather just talk to an expert, you know how to find me. So with that, gentlemen, thank you so much, Bill, Josh, Don. I enjoyed this. I'm going to ask for live feedback. Would you do this again?
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, it's fun.
All right, cool. I like having fun in the middle of my week, right? Yeah, it's a good way to just kind of, it's 2:00 here. Josh, is it 1:00 there or is it noon?
Yeah, 1.
It's 1:00 there. Got it.
Yeah.
So we're 1 hour apart. Cool. I know when to text you then. Yeah. It's not too early, not too late. Got it. Well, hey guys, my team will be sending you all sorts of stuff to keep you engaged and have fun so we can, the 4 of us, stay connected. But if you're watching this audience and you're still here, holy cow, thank you. We're glad you're here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow for all of my content. But these guys have their own stuff out there too. So go internet stalk them, and all of the information will be in the show notes below. So without further ado, thanks for hanging out at BU Live. Be well, everyone. All right. And we are ending the live right now.